So how low can calories go and how high can cardio go during prep? Okay, so we have a very, how can I say, sustainable, perspective when it comes to prep. We want you to invest maybe a longer, time period in, this whole journey rather than just spend 12 weeks or 16 weeks trying to cut down and stand on stage. So a sustainable approach is very, very important. So this is my, how can I say, mindset when it comes to an athlete getting ready for stage. The sooner you start your cutting phase, okay, the less, obviously extreme you have to go in order for you to reach, your, obviously your desired goal of, body fat percentage or conditioning, or, obviously a predicted stage weight or whatever. So, obviously it varies. Someone with a higher activity level, naturally, that gets more steps in throughout the course of the day, that have obviously different, stats, height, weight, age, experience, their body is going to, need different amounts of energy because the expenditure is different, to someone else's. So they might diet, obviously on super high calories throughout the entire prep because they are so active throughout the day, and naturally their activity level creates their deficit instead of obviously having to rely on the decrease in calorie consumption to reach a calorie deficit. But in all real, obviously honesty with regards to how low can it go, we don't generally in any way, shape or form want to take calories lower than 1,300, 1,200 calories during your prep. No matter what someone's, obviously weight is, or, obviously what someone's situation is. Okay, I would far rather tell an athlete, you're not ready for the show. Let's, obviously preserve your health and obviously take a couple of more weeks to stand on stage and, do it in a sustainable manner, rather than push your calories too low and mess around with your hormones and risk your health. You can see obviously even some pro athletes, when they post their calories that they consume, there will be phases that they maybe go down to 1,000, 200,000, 100 calories. But when people start dieting on 1,000 calories, 900 calories, we've had, obviously, clients come from us, from other coaches, where they've been eating 600-700 calories on a daily basis only for months and months, obviously prior. That is not coaching. That is starving your athletes to stage. For me, that is far too restrictive. So, you've also understand that your body has, obviously a BMR, a survival calorie kind of like a threshold where, when you pass that, you start playing with fire. And for us, it's just not worth it. So yes, up until like, let's say, for example, the last 6 weeks, 4 weeks, what I'm saying, we try and keep it as sustainable as possible, ideally, as much variety as possible, loads of flexible options, obviously refeed and fun food meals, incorporated in the approach. And then there's obviously that last little bit, if needed, if someone is behind schedule or can obviously push a little bit further with the condition, where you drop the hammer a little bit. And then you might go through a short little phase, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, obviously, 6 weeks, whatever it is, where you obviously push the limits, where you try and get your steps up as high as possible, where you push for your hour plus, obviously cardio on a daily basis, where you might drop your calories to 1,300, 1,200, obviously calories minimum, what I'm saying? And then that's kind of like how we go about it. So the lowest will obviously generally put anyone's calories, regardless of their weight, is 1,300, 1,200 calories during, obviously their normal phases of their diet. And then the highest their cardio go, we never give anyone more than an hour to do. 40 minutes to an hour is generally the max. Obviously I will instruct girls, listen, if you find yourself with full of energy one day, and it's the final 4 weeks of your prep and you feel you can do an extra 20 minutes of cardio, go for it. Do you get what I'm trying to say? If you can get, obviously if your step goal is, 10,000 steps on a daily basis, if you can get your steps to 16,000 or 15,000 on a daily basis, and you have the energy to do that, it is not going to affect your mental health, go for it. The more the better those last few weeks. But trying to take that, most restrictive part of your prep, the last few weeks, and try and prolong that for 6 months, 5 months, 4 months, that is, very, very dangerous and massive, massive red flags in my opinion. So once again, just to answer it, so the lowest 1,300, 1,200 calories during a prep, and then the highest with regards to cardio, about an hour, obviously cardio on a daily basis is generally the highest that we would recommend. And then obviously athletes can do a little bit of extra if they feel they have the energy on the odd day here and there. All right, hope that answers your question. Remember, the more active you can be, the higher you can get your steps on a daily basis on average, the more calories you can consume on a daily basis and still reach your fat loss targets. So the goal is to lose, even at the harshest times for us, during prep, we want you to lose, about 500 grams on a weekly basis, 2 to 3 kgs on a monthly basis. We're never going to go more restrictive than that. You know what I'm saying? So we've got to create that deficit. So do yourself a favor, get your steps up as high as you possibly can. If it's 8,000 now, get it to 10,000, get it to 12,000, get it to 15,000 plus on a daily basis. If you can do that, you are going to be able to eat more food on a daily basis, have a more sustainable approach, obviously nutrition wise, and still reach your fat loss goals on a weekly and a monthly basis. All right, God bless.